guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna be back to work on our 1966 Ford Mustang that we bought from the salvage auction with some pretty serious burn damage up front. If you guys watched the latest video, we did get this engine running. I know it looks pretty bad, but it did run for a couple of seconds. But today we're gonna be focusing on actually getting this engine out because we did purchase a 2015 Mustang GT that has a good running 5.0 Coyote. So let's go ahead and see exactly what we need to do and get this motor out. So we're gonna start off with the cooling system. Go ahead and remove this radiator, and we'll probably start cutting off all the wiring because all of it is bad. It all got melted and we don't need it, so it's good to work. So we're gonna go ahead and start draining this radiator. I think there might be a little bit of fluid in there because I did pour some water in there. So let's go ahead and drain this thing down. While the water is draining out of the radiator, let's go ahead and get all this wiring off right here. We got the radiator all drained, but look at this, they use a beer bottle as the overflow. That's pretty unique, but we got everything drained out, so let's go ahead and pull this radiator out. So check this out, we got the radiator out and look how empty it is over here inside. I think the 5.0 will fit in here really nice, but we also did get in contact with the previous owner and he told us that this front end is actually from a 65, I'm pretty sure, because if you look over here, there's vents right here. And as you can see, they did a poor job on cutting it out, but it's an older car, so that's kind of what most people do. And you can see right here, it was hammer and dolly. So we got into a little front end collision. It doesn't look like it bent any of the frame rails or anything. It must have just been up top. But now that we got all the radiators out and all the wiring, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the engine. Should be pretty simple. There's literally one thing right here, which I think it's already disconnected, and the drive shaft, but this thing is almost ready to come out. It's pretty crazy. These older cars are so freaking simple. So let's go ahead and get this motor out. So we are gonna remove these brackets right here too. I guess they are strut tower brackets. Let's get these things off just so we can get the motor out a lot easier. So now that we have mostly everything unhooked over here, we're gonna go ahead and move underneath the car. We're just gonna cut off the exhaust because they're horrible under there. So let's go under there and cut everything off. So we got everything unhooked underneath the car. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut off this entire radiator support because quite frankly, we do not need it. We'll be building something better. So let's go ahead and cut this thing off so we can get this motor out of here. Alright guys, so we went ahead and cut off the radiator support just so we can have easier access to pull this motor out. But check these things out, they are really weak. I can literally bend them with my hands. So we'll definitely be cutting them all the way rest off, probably do some nice tube fabrication up here, make it really nice. Now let's go ahead and unbolt these engine mount bolts and we'll get the cherry picker under here and pull this thing out. So we got the cherry picker in front of the motor. Now we are going to be using this nice seat belt from a Honda Accord. Just wrap that around there. We'll probably tie it around the headers and it should handle this motor pretty easy. So we got everything nice and disconnected off the engine. We got it nice and supported. And we also went ahead and removed the 2 screws that hold the engine mounts. So let's go ahead and jack this thing up and see if it'll come out. Got a little bit of movement here. I think okay, go up one. So we did have to drain some of the transmission fluid down there by the transmission, but this thing is ready to come out. Let's go ahead and yank it out. All right. There we go. So we did get the motor out, and check out how small this transmission is. I'm pretty surprised. I didn't know they were this freaking small. So that might give us a couple of problems when we're putting the 5.0 in there, but that's all right. And the previous owner did actually reach out, and he told me that this is a 302, so it's not the stock 289. But if anybody wants this motor, it does run a little bit. We didn't really run it long, but just go ahead and shoot me an email at vtunegarage@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram if you use Instagram at vtune. Let's go ahead and see what's going on over here. As you can see, the shock towers are a bit dented in. I'm guessing that is because of the engine swap. The 302 is probably a little bigger, but that's all right because we will be replacing all of this. I'm pretty sure we're gonna just cut everything out because the 5.0 engine is a lot wider than that engine. But let's go ahead and move on to stripping out the interior because we need to see how bad the damage is inside. As you guys know, the interior is burned pretty bad in there. The entire dash caught on fire. So let's go ahead and start taking the interior apart. Start off by removing these doors so we get easier access inside. It's pretty simple. You got 6 bolts right here on the door hinges. Let's get a socket and get that unscrewed. So we got the door off the car, but before we're gonna start taking all this stuff apart, I kind of want to pull this windshield out just so we have more access over here, because that's where everything is burnt, and these windows are really easy to come off. All you do is pop off these chrome trims, and I'm pretty sure they're glued in with some special glue that doesn't dry, so you don't have to cut it out, which is pretty cool. Get all this off right here. Hopefully we don't find any rust under here, because that's gonna suck. All right, that was almost off. There we go. And now all you gotta do is just push it out. And that's how you do it right there, really easy. Oh man, we got a little bit of rust up here, not much though. Scrape off a little bit of this. It's just a little bit of surface rust. Doesn't look too bad. Pretty solid. But let's get the rest of this thing out of here. Remove this plastic cover that goes here, or metal cover that goes here. I'm guessing it secures the bottom of the windshield. That's pretty crazy how these windshields, they're not glued in like the newer cars. It's pretty weird. Guess you learn something every day on these older cars. So now that we got the window out, we have a much better working area right here. As you can see, that's where most of the burn damage happened. Check out, this is why the audio wasn't working. But we'll replace that. But let's go ahead and jump on this dash and get everything out. At first I thought this dashboard unbolts, but it actually welds in right here. So thank you to a lot of you guys that were screaming at me for that. But that's all good. So let's go ahead and jump in and get all this burnt stuff off this dash. All right, guys, so we got mostly everything off the dash. We went ahead and took off the speedometer. We got the radio out because that thing obviously didn't work. But we attached this nice little steering wheel right here so we can move the car because we did get rid of the old one. But it's looking pretty good in here. We also went ahead and cut off all the bad wiring because everything was just melted together. But now we're gonna go ahead and start removing the seats, get the carpet out, because I noticed when I was underneath the car, I did see a lot of freaking rust under there. So let's go ahead and get these seats out and then we'll do some more investigating and see what we gotta do. So we're gonna go ahead and start taking out these seats. I'm pretty sure all you have to do is pull out this pin right here. So let's go ahead and give that a try and see if it will come out. I'm not too sure, but I did. Let's see if this will come out. There we go. Seems pretty easy. So we did try to get the seat out. We got the pins out, but it still doesn't remove. So we're gonna try to get this carpet out. Maybe there's some hidden bolts somewhere down there. Oh my God. So we got the carpet out and man, oh man, what is going on in here? Look at this. The rust is incredible. To everybody who told me to rebuild a classic car, thank you. Now I have so much more content for you guys. It's incredible. But as you can see, the floorboards are rusted out really bad in the corners over there and over here, but I can't really figure out how to get these seats out. I'm not sure. I did pull out the pins in the front. I'm pretty sure you have to take them out from the bottom. So let's go underneath and see if we can get them out. So we're underneath the car and I see these grommets right here. I'm pretty sure this is how they come out. So let's go ahead and pop these out, and there's nothing in there. Let's see if we can get some light up in there. And there is bolts under here, so let's go ahead and unscrew these bolts right here and the seats should come right out. I just felt this. That's all the bolts down there. There's 4 of them. Let's go ahead. Oh, it's coming right out. Let's see. There we go. That was pretty cool. Never seen a car company put the bolts underneath the car for the seats. But let's go ahead and get that one out, and then we'll pull the rest of this carpet out. Both seats out, there was just 4 bolts underneath, and check this out, we even found some unchewed bubble gum. Maybe we'll chew that later, but let's go ahead and get this rear section of the carpet out and see how bad it is under here. Don't need those. Now that we got everything out of the Mustang, we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of cleanup inside here. As you can see, there's a lot of rust, but we need to see the extent of the rust. So let's go ahead and do a little cleanup because we did make quite a mess with all the Mustang parts everywhere. So let's get this area cleaned up and we'll do some more investigating on the Mustang. Vacuuming in here, but that did not help all the rust, but we did get all the particles of rust out of here, and we still have some holes in there. But let's go ahead and get these rear seats out and see if there's any more rust back here, because if there is, we might have to end up scrapping this car. Well, it looks actually pretty good from here back. It looks really nice. There's no rust over here, no visible rust down here, which is really awesome. But I think this is gonna be a wrap for today's video. All right, guys, so that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. Let's go ahead and do a little recap of what we got done on this Mustang. For starters, we did get the motor out of the front, and everything's looking pretty good up front. We will be replacing these shock towers because the 5.0 motor won't fit between these stock factory position shock towers. That's all good. We got that parts car, don't forget about that. And we did remove the window right here. We didn't find too much rust up here, so that's a really good thing. But we did find some more rust inside. As you guys can see, there's a bunch of holes you can just stick your hand right through, and on that side, and it was already replaced before, but that's expectable for a car that's over like 60 years old. But it looks pretty good back here. As you guys can see, there's no rust in the rear, so that's a really good sign. But we are getting that motor out of the 5.0 parts car, so stay tuned for some more videos. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram at vtuned. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications.